Hello everyone, this is Jason from Primetime Aquatics. Thank you so much for being here. In today's video, we are working on the third aquarium in the aquarium gallery. And yes, it is another 125 right behind me. I've already added in the red flint sand, same stuff that we used in the previous 125. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put it in the upper right hand corner as well as in the description below. But for this aquarium, what we're doing is we're actually going to make this a nano 125, meaning that we're going to have almost all nano fish, not almost all, we're going to have all nano fish in this aquarium, primarily rasboras and smaller tetras. And so we're going to get started on this, and actually I'm going to be doing the hardscape just like I did on the last 125, and I will call in Joanna when we're ready for the plants and just making sure that we have the rocks all situated. So let's get started. All right, so I got the wood and the rocks together, and I think I'm at a place where I really like the wood and the way it is. Rocks, I'm still going to work on it. Again, some of the stuff is strategic, where I know I'm going to depend on Joanna to kind of glue this stuff down, and so when it comes to the rocks, some of it has to be in a place where the wood can be glued to the rock so it doesn't start floating, especially this stuff. It's not very heavy, and it takes a while for it to eventually sink. So it's really important that it's weighed down, and so you'll see some things that really aren't all that visible when you look at it from the the front of the tank, but we've got some rocks that are actually on the wood, and a lot that where hopefully as it's being glued, the wood is being glued to itself and being glued to the rocks, we should be in pretty good shape. So I think, like I said, I like where this is at right now. I might add some more rocks strategically to the back just to make sure we don't get anything that's going to be floating, because that would be a devastating thing. But yeah, and I think at that point I'll be ready for Joanna to do some planting. All right, so Joanna recently glued everything down. The wood is glued together. The wood is glued to the rocks. That should keep everything weighed down. We're going to put a little bit of water in here. She's going to start planting because that's still not an area I'm comfortable dealing with. So let's get her planting stuff and get a little bit of water in this tank. All right, so Joanna's got some of the plants going, the crypts. She's working her crypts into the aquarium and sneaking them in there between all the wood, and hopefully they fill in really, really well. At some point in the future, we have some maybe corkscrew valve over here that's going to go in the back, and then a whole bunch of little Anubias nanas, Nana Petite.
It's Cryptspiralis.
Cryptspiralis, sorry, it's hard to see on the camera, but that's what's going in there, and we're making progress. All right, so we just got the tank filled up. Joanna finished planting it. We've got the Oaza Biomaster Thermo 850 running on this bad boy. The next step is we are going to be adding some fish, a small number of fish. We have some cycled filter media in the aquarium. We also use some Fritzzyme 7. All right, everyone, so the first fish we're going to add are these red cherry tetras. I've done a species profile on these fish before if you want to check it out in the upper right hand corner. These are rare tetras, and they are going to be awesome in our brand new large Nano Aquarium. And they're going to have great color. You can see here they kind of in some ways resemble an ember tetra, except they are larger. And I think they school fairly tightly, as you're going to see here. And again, it's going to be a great mid-water fish for this aquarium. All right, the next fish we're going to be adding in is going to take care of some algae control for us. It's going to stay with the same general color theme for right now. Super red bristlenose. Now, of course, there's a very high chance that we just put that fish in the tank, and it is not going to be seen for a little while, at least a couple days. It's probably going to hide under a piece of wood, and that's about all we're going to see of it for now. And finally, in this go around, just to kind of get this tank started out, we're going to be adding 6 giant coolie loaches. Now, these coolie loaches are about the same length as a regular coolie loach, but they are going to be thicker bodied. And again, this is a fish where we just saw them go in. There's a very strong likelihood that we're going to see them vanish and not see them again for a while. But at least we're going to have the tetras out there for right now, and we'll see what the coolie loaches do, but half dozen of them, that should give them enough to feel comfortable. Plenty of places in here for them to hide. And we are very excited to show you this 125-gallon aquarium behind us, what I am calling the giant nano tank, because
is that the name?
That's the name. I just came up with it right now. It's the giant nano tank, and we're going to take you through what we did very, very briefly and how we got to this point. And we're also going to look at the stocking options. And so This is a really exciting tank. This is the second 125 in our fish room gallery. We still have a couple of tanks to set up and a whole lot of work to do on the walls to make it look more like a gallery, but this was a big step for us. It's something we've been talking about for a long time, and it's something you've wanted to do for a very long time, have a giant nano tank. What we mean by that is it's a giant tank with nano fish.
Yes.
Now you're going to notice a couple things about this aquarium. Thing number one is it is very lightly stocked at the start. Trust me, this is not the only fish that are going in this aquarium. So let's go ahead, let's start out and let's just talk about the fish real fast. So first fish, we have the red cherry tetra. This is a fish I've done a species profile on before. Check out the description if you want to learn more. This is a rare fish. This is as big as they get, so they're about the size of a lemon tetra or so. We put 8 of them in this aquarium. These fish have jumped around our fish room. They were in a 20 long, and then when we broke down the tanks behind us, or the tanks that used to be behind us, they went on the other side in a 40 breeder with a bunch of other fish that didn't have a home, and finally they have a home here in this 125, and the reason I chose them is they have amazing color. They have a very deep red color. They're a very peaceful fish, and they do like to school together. Now, the other fish that we put in here, what else did we put in this aquarium?
Coolie loaches.
The coolie loach, but not just any type of coolie loach. Yes, we have the giant coolie loach in this aquarium, and they call it the giant coolie loach because they tend to be thicker than the standard coolie loach. So they're all going to be around 4 inches, but the giant coolie loach gets a little bit more wide-bodied, and we put a half a dozen in there just to kind of roam the bottom for food that falls to the bottom. And then the other thing that we added was one super red bristle nose, and that really is for algae control, again, scavenging. We're going to add more bristlenose to this tank. I've got a few others in the fish room that I am very excited about that are pretty cool. But here again, we're stocking this tank lightly, and so let's talk a little bit about filtration if we can real fast, and then we're going to get into the scape. We put on a Biomaster Thermo 850 made by Oaza. This was the same filter that we used in the other 125. We have done the review. Check it out. It is in the upper right hand corner as well as in the description below. This is the canister filter that has really kind of transitioned me into canister filters from a lot of the hang-on backs, especially in this area where we want it to be quiet. We've got these larger tanks and we really want them to look good because eventually this area is going to be the backdrop for our live streams. And so the Biomaster 850 canister filter by Oaza, it's the thermo version, which means there's a heater in the canister filter. I'm not sure how much that's going to be used in this fish room because it's still cooking at around 80 to 82. But we do have the heater set at 79 degrees, and this filter has been awesome. It's giving us a lot of flow in both of our 125s now, so I'm super excited about that. And we have a lot of used filter media, and so I took one of our sponges from the 75 gallon, cut it in half, and put it in a couple of the compartments, and this was a heavily stocked 75 gallon. So the few fish that are in there, there's going to be more than enough microbes to meet the demand for the filtration that we need. Now, the other thing that you can do is certainly you can add your Fritz Zyme 7. That is live nitrifying bacteria, and we did add a little bit to this aquarium as well. Lights, let's talk about the lights. We have to do, people have been asking me about these lights. I will put a link in the description if you want to check them out, but this is the Aqua Illumination Blade Light. It's the 6-foot light, so cool that there is a high-end light that actually comes in a 6-foot length, and a lot of times that is not the case. This is a fully programmable light. You can program the intensity, you can program when it comes on, when it goes off, the color spectrum. It is a very high-end light, and it is an awesome light. We're very happy to have them. Pretty much on all the aquariums that we're going to have in the gallery, they are going to be on these tanks because I saw them at Aquashella, and I was like, wow, these things are awesome. And so we were able to have Bulk Reef Supply, Aqua Illumination bring these things in for us. Really appreciate that. Same with Oaza, allowing us to test out these large canister filters that we're really excited about. Okay, now the reason I brought Joanna along is she did all of the plants and she did all the gluing. And so just like the first aquarium, I'm trying my hand at trying to place wood in an aquarium that looks halfway decent. I hope I did a good job. Would love to hear from you in the comments section below. What do you think? But I placed the wood and most of the rocks, and you had to move some around for practical purposes. And there are some rocks in this aquarium, they're in a particular place because as we started to fill the aquarium, this is a really light wood, right? It's light in color, it's light in weight. It's going to take a while to get waterlogged, and all of a sudden one piece is like, oh, I think I'm going to start coming up. So we added some strategic rocks, and so some of the rocks that you see are like, maybe that's not the best choice. It is a practical choice and a must have, at least for right now, until this aquarium actually gets settled. So the substrate, what did we use?
We used the, I always forget the name.
Red flint.
Red flint. Because it comes in a white bag. It throws me.
We use the red flint substrate, the red flint sand. Once again, we got that from Zuze.
Along with the other substrates.
Along with the other substrates, yeah. So we used some accent rocks, some smaller accent rocks. The river stone, the river stone that we had was something we pulled out of other aquariums. It was just, for this aquarium, I wanted to go with a little bit of a lighter color on the Geophagus Paradise tank. I'll put that in the upper right-hand corner as well as in the description below if you haven't seen that. We tended to use darker rocks. It was a darker wood. We thought that would show off the fish a little bit better, but here we wanted a little bit of a lighter feel with the wood and the rocks and the substrate, and both of those tanks I think looks awesome. Now, plants. What did we choose for the plants and what did you do with them?
We got I wanted to keep the plant choices to a minimum, just like about three different choices. We got Crypt Wente Red. We got a number of them. That's what I placed first along the center. And then just a couple, actually one Crypt that I don't even remember the name of it. You picked it out. You absolutely had to have it.
So, it was a cool looking crypt. It was a crypt I'd never heard of, and
totally
at some
different.
point, maybe if I can find the name of the crypt, I will put that down in the description or something, but I don't know what it is. It's just cool.
Yeah. And then a handful, maybe 4 or 5 Crypt Spiralis. We'll see how that does. I'm kind of excited. It's very similar to the corkscrew valve. It may stay a little bit shorter. I don't know. And then a variety of crypts planted throughout the back to kind of fill that in. And then my absolute favorites are, of course, the ANP, the Anubias Nana Petite, mass planted, just in all the little crevices along the bottom, and some golden Anubias as well.
Yeah, and so the idea here, once again, is this aquarium is going to fill in a little bit, especially the crypts. We're hoping, our plan is that they're going to grow taller and they're going to spread out and send their runners everywhere. Yeah. Fill it out, same thing with the corkscrew valve. We'll have to see, or I'm sorry, corkscrew...
Crypt Spiralis.
Crypt Spiralis. Sorry. The Crypt Spiralis, hopefully that is going to fill in as well. And if it doesn't, we'll make some adjustments and add some more plants as needed. Right now, it's mostly the wood, and I really wanted to showcase the wood because I think it looks pretty cool with the hardscaping. And so the plants will grow in over time. And we will be adding a lot more fish to this aquarium. One of the benefits and one of the things that we want to show you in this aquarium, and one of the points to this aquarium is, don't overlook, just because you have a large aquarium doesn't mean you have to pack it full of large fish. And so probably those red cherry tetras that you see in this tank might very well be the biggest fish in terms of overall mass that we see. Certainly the coolie loaches are going to be the longest at potentially 4 inches, but they're relatively small fish. But that's it. They're pretty much going to be the largest. A lot of the other fish that we add over the coming weeks are going to be nano fish, and so you're going to get to see that, and they're going to be in pretty decent quantities because the tank is so large. So we're really looking forward to that. So this is just the beginning. Hopefully you'll stick around in the coming weeks and months and see what we add to this aquarium, just like we have more to add to the Geophagus Paradise aquarium. We have yet to add our schooling fish and our mid and top water fish that are going to bring a lot more interest to the aquarium. So this is the new fish tank, the new 125, the big giant nano tank. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.